Idle games might just be the ultimate in couch gaming. Load up your idler of choice, sit back, and enjoy feeling like you're making progress while binging on Netflix or just listen to a podcast. It's the perfect type of game to play when you don't quite know what to play. So, stop doom scrolling and start grinding levels, fellow gamer. That's my unsolicited advice for you this day. In this video, we'll explore idle gaming a little bit and look at some of the titles you might just enjoy. Every so often, I get an itch that can only be scratched by making numbers go up. Idle games, for anyone who isn't in the know, is a genre where the player can engage in systems, progress, achieve goals, and win, all without really being an active participant. Also known as incremental games or clicker games, idlers offer the player the ability to progress while they're AFK. This means they're great for people who are pressed for time but still want to get their gaming fix. Maybe this all sounds a bit weird, but hear me out. Many of these games are really satisfying and fun to play. It might not seem like you're doing much, but often there's a strange sense of satisfaction and enjoyment that comes from playing an idle game. There's something devilish about the way these games hijack your brain's reward circuitry and deliver moments of joy, zen, and elation, sometimes all at the same time. Maybe I've piqued your interest, or maybe you're already an idle game convert. Either way, let's lead off by talking about a new release that has caused quite the stir recently. Stimulation Clicker is a new incremental experience which is totally free to play via the dev's website neo.fun. The game is basically a parody of the internet itself, in that through the course of the game, you are being increasingly bombarded with stimulating distractions as you attempt to keep progressing and growing your number of stimulations. Imagine the most degenerate multi-tab internet session overlapping video, audio, games, news, podcasts, stock market dings, ASMR, and now you're somewhere close to understanding what Stimulation Clicker is all about. It's a brain-frying experience, and this game will take you to the absolute limit of what you can handle and continue on a bit further as you progress through the experience. My take? It begins as quite an interesting, rewarding and satisfying experience as you build up your screen with nostalgic or satisfying, interesting unlocks. But quickly this spirals out of control to deliver the desired effect, which is complete overstimulation in a way that will leave you contemplating the very nature of the internet and your relationship with it. This is a very unique experience, and I really recommend checking it out because you're unlikely to ever experience anything else quite like this, and it might make you rethink a thing or two. So anyway, Stim Clicker is a bit of a gimmick, albeit a good one. Next up, I want to talk about an actual video game designed to really get you engaged and having fun long term. Melvor Idle. Melvor is a very deep simulation of the massively multiplayer online role-playing game genre, that's a mouthful, and it's adapted for idle style play. So we're talking games like World of Warcraft or Ultimate Online, the one that kicked off the whole thing. In Melvor, you take the role of manager, where you are in charge of the hero and decide what action they take any given time. For example, you could set up your character to kill some chickens and then later come back to hundreds of dead chickens, which you can then pluck, begin cooking, and use the feathers to craft arrows. In doing so, while you're AFK, this all happens for you, you've now worked on various skills: combat, cooking, fletching, and you've just started to make some progress, and this feels inherently nice. And this is us just kicking off on the very long and rewarding journey to completing the hardest enemies and dungeons in the game, just as you would do in your favourite live service MMO. You don't have to worry about doing anything other than setting up the hero to carry out the task and managing equipment, resources and loot. For the most part, you just play the strategy in terms of managing what you want the hero to do, and then you go AFK. When you come back, you're greeted with a progress screen that tells you all about the awesome things that you've accomplished while you've been away. And then you repeat the process, setting your sights on ever expanding goals. With 20 skills to work on, in the base game alone, your toon is going to be very busy as you get sucked further into the depths of Melvor. By the way, This is a game heavily based on one of the oldest and most popular MMOs ever, RuneScape, with the idea that players could get their fix without having to no-life the real game. As you know, to play games like RuneScape or World of Warcraft, there is a huge time demand to be relevant in the game. Melvor circumvents this requirement and makes it accessible to people who actually have jobs in real lives. In fact, it's such a good take on RuneScape that the developer of RuneScape, Jagex, went ahead and bought it, and in conjunction with the creator of Melvor, whose name is Malks, they are creating updates for the game, DLCs, and they're continually making improvements. Pretty cool, right? So now we've got you covered for your MMO fix, let's talk about a much more under the radar title. Orb of Creation is a brilliantly presented incremental game from a little known developer called Marple Games. It's a magic and spell themed incremental about creating the world around you from nothing but magic. That's right, you start off in just a bare black room with no light, and from there you've got to create everything. Right off the bat, what I can tell you about Orb is the gorgeous pixel art style married with the scintillating soundtrack make this a unique and nostalgic experience. I'm going to be honest with you here, I've only put a few hours into this game so far, so I'm not a huge expert on it, but I will say this. From what I can see, this is a massive, deep experience that will likely keep me busy on my Steam Deck for some time to come. And with that in mind, Orb of Creation is a really nice companion to have by your side while you watch some TV or just want something to keep your hands busy while you listen to a podcast. All three of these games mentioned so far are either completely free to play in browser or have a free to play version in the case of Melvor. And this is a common theme with idle games, you can often play them absolutely free in your browser, which is really nice. Just check out Cookie Clicker, which is one of the main idle games, one of the most famous ones, still completely free to play in the browser if you so desire. In terms of flexibility, idle games once again excel. Let me say this, you'll never be asked to build a high-powered gaming PC just to hopefully be able to get 60 frames per second on an idler. Far from it. Most, if not all, idle games are available for both Android and Apple handheld devices, so if you've got a phone, you can most likely play them. On top of this, these games can be a fantastic option on a Steam Deck or other handheld devices. And the most basic PC or laptop will be able to run almost any idle game without any problem at all. So whether you're on your couch or on a long journey, your idle game of choice will be there for you. So there we have it. I hope this short look into idle games has been illuminating. Now it's over to you. What do you think about this interesting genre? Are there any games out there I should look out for that I may not know about? Please let me know in the comments. And if you feel that way inclined, feel free to drop a like or a sub. I'll more than likely revisit this topic again soon. That's it from me. See you next time.